103.1.
And hello, K-Man, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Austin Harris. My colleague and co-host, Ellio Solomon, remains on leave, but working hard. And coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm going to tell you how hard he's been working with a very big announcement that I'm not going to tell you about now. You're going to have to stick around and be here after the news at 6 o'clock for some important news from your favorite evening talk show, Straight Talk here. Again, I'm almost bursting at the seams to share it with you, but we'll wait until 6 o'clock. But again, big announcement and more details in terms of how hard my buddy's been working it behind the scenes. It hasn't been a vacation. A lot of people says, well, you know, what are you doing while Ellio's on vacation? Well, he's not on vacation. At least he better not be. No, he's been working hard, my friend has. And again, big announcement to come at 6 o'clock. So encouraging you to be with us all the way until the end. It is, what day is it? It's Tuesday, right? Yes, Tuesday, the 9th of September. You know it's been a tough week when you struggle to figure out what day of the week, and it's still only Tuesday. You'd think that, well, I thought to myself earlier on today that, boy, do I need a drink. And I thought, my God, it's only Tuesday. It's not even close to Thursday yet. Normally you'd say that's a Friday treat, but yeah, it's still only Tuesday. Hope you're having a great day out there in Cayman and certainly around town. Hopefully you weren't outside. Outside's been getting warmer and warmer all the time. I think the humidity today was through the roof. I know it threatened to rain once or twice, but never quite followed through. And the weather forecast suggests tonight that we might see a few drip drops. Well, let's just get into it. Taking a quick look at your weather, brought to you by the National Weather Service. Weak ridge across the Northwest Caribbean will allow for stable conditions across the Cayman area today with light seas and light winds. However, an increase in the chance of showers is expected tomorrow as a surface trough moves across the Western Caribbean. Taking a look at satellite images, really, whether you're looking at the 250-mile view, the 150-mile view, or the 30-mile view, it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of cloud coverage over the Cayman Islands at the moment anyway, and certainly none on the horizon. But the forecast for tonight calls for cloudy skies and potential evening showers. Temperatures expected to dip down to a low of 81 degrees. Winds will be out of the east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and sea state will be smooth with wave heights of fewer than 2 feet. Temperature-wise, again, you probably don't think so, and it certainly doesn't feel like it. But ironically, it is cooler than it was yesterday. While the temperature gauge is still sitting about 89 degrees, but the real feel is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which, again, is an improvement from yesterday. But you couldn't tell if you were outside like I was part of the day today. It was another warm day in paradise. But, again, if the National Weather Service forecast holds true, we might see some showers tonight and possibly even into tomorrow in the Wednesday forecast. Thunder showers are forecast for Wednesday and Thursday, with the sun creeping back out through the clouds on Friday as we head into the weekend. And for the most part, again, just taking a quick look at your 5-day outlook, the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looks pretty good. They've got a partly cloudy forecast for much of the day, but no rain expected, light breeze, and it looks like it has the potential to turn into a lovely, lovely weekend. But that's a quick look at your weather, brought to you by the National Weather Service. Wednesday, 745-2626 is the number in studios. No guests expected here today. Once again, an opportunity for open mic. So you get to hear me talk at length on a variety of things. We're going to try my best to keep everything upbeat and positive as best as I can. Even when the stories tend to get a little more difficult and perhaps more pointed, as it will after 5 o'clock. Overall, I think on today's agenda should be a pretty easy and happy day. Speaking of happy, I want to kick off our good news sector by really congratulating a good friend of ours. I wouldn't even say a good friend of mine, but a good friend of Ellio and myself, and certainly us here at Straight Talk, as the director of the National Gallery, Natalie Urquhart, has been selected for a cultural leadership course. Natalie Urquhart, the director of the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, has been accepted into the prestigious Oxford Cultural Leaders Program. She will join 26 other cultural leaders from around the world this September to learn about traditional cultural leadership practice and new entrepreneurial skills within the industry. The residential course has been designed and will be delivered by the Oxford Said Business School and the University of Oxford's Gardens, Libraries, and Museums. So, yes, all very upper crust and all very special, very preppy even. Urquhart, who hails from Georgetown, is the first Caymanian to attend the acclaimed International Cultural Leadership Program. And following the completion of the program, she and other participants will emerge as part of a diverse global network of some 250 cultural leaders who represent some of the world's leading museums, galleries, and cultural venues, and a Caymanian shall be amongst them. So Natalie Urquhart says she hopes this will bring increased opportunities for collaboration with the Cayman Islands cultural sector. She said in a press release, and I quote, "I'm excited to bring renewed and revitalized leadership skills into my institutional roles, personal projects, and wider national cultural advisory work, and to share these with our team upon my return." Urquhart has led the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands since 2009, and, well, from my vantage point, she's done a remarkable job in showcasing local artists and artisans from the Cayman Islands and the wider Cayman populace, residents alike. If you know what was going on in the last couple of months, there have been one exhibit after the next, many of them coming to a close, but all of them riveting for the eye and soul. And Natalie Urquhart has been a big part of putting those pieces together as their curator and executive director. And I just want to say congratulations. I think it's a fabulous honor, very well deserving. And Natalie, if you are listening, well, here's one Caymanian, and I will add to Ellio in spirit, sends his love and admiration, and we're both filled with pride to see you joining 26 other cultural leaders in this prestigious Oxford group. Well, we know you're going to make us all proud. So congratulations to Natalie Urquhart of the National Gallery, who has been accepted into the Oxford Cultural Leaders Program, being the first Caymanian to ever participate in such a high-level program. So proud, so very proud. Congratulations, Natalie, from all of us. Switching gears to the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. The Cayman Islands Cancer Society is expected to hold a free health and wellness fair in the month of September. The Cayman Islands Cancer Society is inviting the public to its free health and wellness fair that is scheduled to be held at the Hotel Indigo from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 13th of September, and will feature free health screenings, talks by medical and corporate personnel, fitness and nutrition demonstrations, interactive workshops, and a whole bunch of giveaways. The Cayman Islands Cancer Society spokesperson told the Cayman Independent that they are proud to host their 2025 Conquering Cancer Symposium and Health Fair, which is a landmark event dedicated to advancing cancer awareness, prevention, and care in the wider community. This gathering brings together medical professionals, patients, caregivers, and the public to exchange knowledge, access free health screenings, and to explore a new era of advanced treatments. Now, this event will kick off with the free silent disco organized by wellness events companies Island Soul. Not quite sure what a silent disco is. I guess I'm going to have to be in attendance to find out. It starts at Governor's Beach at 8:30 a.m. and will travel to Hotel Indigo on 7 Mile Beach. Wow. A disco starting at 8:30 in the morning. Very interesting. The fair itself, which is suitable for the whole family, will begin at 9 a.m. and runs to 2 p.m. Registration for the disco can be made by emailing Brianna at cics.ky. That's short for Cayman Islands Cancer Society.ky. Attendance at the fair also does not require prior registration. So come one, come all, bring the family and celebrate, obviously, cancer survivors in the Cayman Islands, gain broader appreciation and awareness for cancer treatments, as well as take advantage of those free health screenings. Again, you can't beat that. Certainly, some of these screenings would cost a pretty penny, but the Cancer Society putting it on thanks to contributions from their sponsors and obviously the very important work that they continue to do in the local community. So what are they calling it again? Let's see it again. Conquering Cancer Symposium and Health Fair scheduled to kick off at 9 a.m. on the 13th of September. Hopefully, as many persons who are able can come out and be a part of that fair. Where else we got? More good news for travelers. The Cayman Islands Airports Authority, with the support of the Infrastructure Ministry, has deployed the first of 3 state-of-the-art baggage scanning machines at Owen Roberts International Airport. Officials described this as a major milestone in strengthening airport security and efficiency, and it means that passengers no longer have to remove laptops from bags, thereby speeding up the process. Now, I haven't traveled for a little while, but do they still make you take your shoes off? Now, that would be an improvement in efficiency if I ever saw one. Not only is it a lot less disgusting, I mean, who wants to take your shoes off and walk around on either tile or carpet floor? Not very hygienic, really. I don't know if they still do it anymore. If they stop doing it, then you can ignore everything I've just said. But if they are doing it, then now that would be a monumental leap towards efficiency, and I'll be thrilled to promote it as well. But not to take away any of the luster of this new state-of-the-art baggage scanning machine. It comes in collaboration with the U.S. Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, and all Cayman Islands Airports Authority security personnel and partner agencies are undergoing comprehensive hands-on training to operate these new advanced scanners, according to a press release that came out recently from the ministry. The remaining 2 scanners are expected to be fully operational at the Owen Roberts International Airport by the end of October. So we have one going online rather soon and 2 others coming online towards the end of October, I guess getting us ready for the upcoming high season, which begins with, of course, your Thanksgiving travelers and shortly thereafter followed by Christmas. Yes, I said the words Christmas. Soon we'll all be singing Christmas carols and enjoying sweets and food and all the things that make us plump just in time for Santa's arrival. This cutting-edge scanning technology, according to the Cayman Islands Airports Authority, streamlines the screening process by eliminating the need for passengers to remove laptops and other items from their bags, significantly reducing wait times and delivering a smoother travel experience. The Chief Executive Officer of the Cayman Islands Airports Authority, Mr. Albert Anderson, said that the successful rollout of this first scanner represents a major milestone for the authority in terms of modernization and improving the passenger experience. This new technology not only enhances operational efficiency, but also aligns with our commitments to safety, security, and providing world-class service, he said. So, yes, the Owen Roberts International Airport continues to move into the 21st, maybe even the 22nd century. Not too long ago, we got a brand new terminal building and all the little perks that go with it. We still don't have jet bridges, so you jump off the plane and it's raining outside. You're still going to get wet. We, not too long ago, got shade in the arrival area, so I guess we should be grateful for that, you know. Baby steps. We're going to get there. Baby steps, one at a time. Eventually, we'll get a jet bridge. I'm sure of it. Undoubtedly, when they further continue to contemplate building a longer runway and then getting, of course, access to even bigger planes, and then watch how quickly those air bridges will come online, and then they'll say, well, you couldn't have one without the other, as we anticipate. But congratulations to the Airports Authority nonetheless. Obviously seeking to improve the passenger experience. And yeah, I kind of agree, you know, not having to take my laptop out of my bag, cost me, 5, maybe 10 seconds. But hey, that's 5 or 10 seconds less now. So kudos and congratulations. Again, I haven't traveled for a while, and I don't know whether they still make you take your shoes off or not. But if they do, hopefully that'll be the next state-of-the-art technology that will be rolled out and introduced in the general public soon. What else is there? Oh, yes. So I read the story, and I think I found it on the pages of one of my quickly becoming my favorite newspaper, the Cayman Independent. You know, you've heard me talk about it with Ellio many times. I like its writing. I like the stories. You know, and the content is fantastic. It is largely business-centric, but they also have a lovely cultural section. And it is from there that I am reading this next article, which really gives evidence to the old saying, not every disappointment is a misfortune. And it outlines how redundancy set a tech professional on an exciting new path that perhaps he may never have found had he not been made redundant. Last year, Al Ebanks, no, not the artist, but a younger version, was made redundant just 3 years into his first career job as a user support engineer for software company Brave. It came as a blow for the now 28-year-old Caymanian, but it also proved to be a pivotal moment in his life, setting him on a new and exciting course. If you see the I guess the pauses here. So the article is talking about a single individual, but the writing in grammar has him almost in third person with they and them instead of him. You know, again, anyway, I'm just pointing that out to the editorial staff of the Cayman Independent. I love your work, but let's, you know, not get lazy now. Let's start focusing a little bit on what we're producing. Ebanks, who studied game design at university, chose to use the unexpected unemployment to transition into volunteer work in the community. This ultimately led to, again, their position today. This ultimately led to his position today as an exhibition coordinator for the Cayman Islands National Museum. Getting laid off, he says, is never a fun experience, especially very early on in your career. But I tried to spin it on its head and see it as a kind of blessing, as it gave me the opportunity to give something back to the community. Being unemployed meant that I could really dig into volunteering, Ebanks said. He went on to state, I started helping the National Trust more, providing them with an extra pair of hands where and when they needed it, including doing some social media outreach, like helping out on the West Bay Heritage Day. Ebanks also joined the Cayman Catboat Club in his spare time, helping to restore and preserve Cayman's catboats and keep their history alive. So really finding some positive ways in which to spend his time, and arguably very fulfilling ways. In April, after spending more than 8 months immersed in the community, Ebanks applied for and was offered the full-time paid role at the museum. The move, Ebanks says, felt natural at that point, but thanks to Cayman Art Week happening the following month, there was no gentle easing in. He said it was a trial by fire, and it immediately launched into preparing the exhibition. Conversations with popular art launched to coincide with Art Week, and that was probably one of the most challenging things I've done on any job, he said. Now, I'm trying to find in particular what was the name of the job or the title given to himself, and I'm just trying to see it, but I don't. Oh, no, yes, he's now the exhibition coordinator at the Cayman Islands National Museum. Lucky guy, gets to work with folks like Natalie Urquhart and Mia Mutu, and certainly Al Ebanks joining the National Museum after having found himself being made redundant. Again, not every disappointment is a misfortune. Sometimes, just sometimes, you find that there is a greater, bigger plan in the works. All you got to do is have just a little bit of faith. So I want to congratulate Al Ebanks. Not only has he, as a young Caymanian, had an opportunity to learn more about the history of his Cayman Islands through the Catboat Club, being a sustainable youth ambassador with the National Trust and the West Bay Heritage Committee, but now having arguably the even bigger thrill of being exhibition coordinator at the National Gallery, who continue, as we stated at the very beginning of the show, does some really, really remarkable work, has the opportunity to work with some remarkable people, local artisans and residents, showcasing their wares in exhibitions and whatnot. And now we have another young Caymanian to add to their very strong team there at the National Gallery. So I just want to say a great big shout out and congratulations to Al Ebanks on finding something that not only makes you happy, but hopefully will turn into a very rewarding career. You certainly will be kept busy, young Mr. Ebanks. 55 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock, just about 4 minutes before passing it on to the top of the hour news, brought to you by our news partner, the BBC. And again, reminding you that you want to stick around all the way until 6 o'clock. A very important announcement going to be made here on the program, and I want to make sure you're all here for it. But one final bit of good news. Well, I won't say a final bit of good news, but certainly in this segment anyway. Cayman Bay has been named as a finalist in the 2025 ULI Vision Awards. Cayman Bay Dart's mixed-use community has been named as a finalist in the 2025 Urban Land Institute, or ULI, Southeast Florida and Caribbean Vision Awards for Project of the Year. The development in the Cayman Islands is one of 6 standout projects from the region to be recognized for excellence in design, planning, and impact. In a press release that was put out just yesterday, Gary Gibbs, Executive Vice President of Development, said the company is honored that Cayman Bay has been named a finalist, spanning some 685 acres along Grand Cayman's 7-mile beach corridor. 685 acres. It really does put that in perspective, don't it? You know, you talk about hundreds of acres and you wonder, well, what does that really feel like? Well, take a walk through Cayman Bay and all of its various moving parts, and you will experience 685 acres. Cayman Bay integrates residential, commercial, educational, and recreational spaces. And according to the ULI Vision Awards brochure, it exemplifies long-term vision and placemaking rooted in regional identity. And it is described as a thriving hub for commerce, culture, and everyday life. First day with the new lips. Now, the winners of the ULI Southeast Florida Caribbean Vision Awards will be announced on the 20th of November. So place your bets and see if Cayman Bay will emerge as the winner. But none the least, congratulations to Cayman Bay and their designers. We're going to pause, take a short commercial break, but keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk coming up next. I did it to myself again. I looked at the clock on this thing is now 58, and I really need to go off at 59. So theoretically, I got a whole 60 seconds left of banter. Just when you think you've timed it so perfectly and you're going to go off almost right on the second, no such luck. Let's see. We got a message on WhatsApp. Hopefully it's a good one. Let's see. Nope, I got a voice note, and I'm sure that voice note is not made for radio, so we shan't be playing that one, but I will certainly scan it during the break, and if it is, well, family-friendly, I might share it with you. Phone lines are open. 745-2626 is the number in studios. Be a part of the conversation, or you can call us or text us on our WhatsApp number, 928-2562. More Straight Talk coming up next on Bobo 103.1 FM.
Bobo.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
BBC News.
BBC News.
World news from the BBC. Violent clashes.
Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive wind.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat.
Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
The BBC's From Our Own Correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here.
More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own Correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
This is the BBC News with Fiona MacDonald. The Qatari Prime Minister has denounced Israel's attack on Hamas leaders in his country as treacherous, saying it was aimed at sabotaging Gaza ceasefire talks. Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani added that the United States, an ally, had informed Qatar of the Israeli strike after the attack.
The attack happened at 3:46. The first call we had from an American official was at 3:56, which is 10 minutes after the attack. And after that, President Trump has spoken with His Highness the Emir. He condemned the attack.
For his part, Donald Trump said Israel had notified Washington, but not in time to stop the attack. He said he felt very badly about where the strikes had taken place. The White House spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, read a statement from the president on the Israeli strikes. Our correspondent, Nomia Iqbal, was listening.
The statement that she read out was pretty stark in its criticism, and you can see why that may be. It's thought that Hamas leaders were in the middle of negotiating and talking about Trump's ceasefire proposal when Israel struck, quite similar to what happened between Iran and the US back in June. But the key difference here, of course, is that Qatar is a major ally of the US. And so questions are being asked exactly how this could have happened. And the Trump administration aren't going into any of the details.
Hamas said 6 people were killed in the attack in Doha, but none of its leaders was among them. One of the dead was said to be the son of the group's chief negotiator. Hamas said the attack proved beyond doubt that Israel did not want a peace deal. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted that the bombing authorized by him could clear the way to end the war in Gaza. The head of the UN nuclear watchdog has said that an agreement with the Iranian foreign minister on practical arrangements to resume inspection of nuclear sites in Iran is an important step in the right direction. Iran has also made positive comments about the meeting between Rafael Grossi and Abbas Araghchi in Cairo. It was the first such meeting since Israel attacked Iranian nuclear sites nearly 3 months ago. Bethany Bell has this report.
The agency wants information about the status and whereabouts of Iran's stock of highly enriched uranium following the bombing. Mr. Araghchi said the agreement reflected Iran's exceptional security circumstances and the agency's technical requirements. The Cairo talks took place not long after Britain, France and Germany launched a 30-day process to reimpose major UN sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program.
That report from Bethany Bell. You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. The army in Nepal has warned it will take control in the country if widespread anti-corruption protests don't stop. A statement accused unnamed groups of trying to take advantage of the unrest. There have been arson attacks and vandalism in several cities as protests escalate, despite the resignation of the Prime Minister. Demonstrators set fire to the Parliament building. The French President Emmanuel Macron has named Sébastien Lecornu as new Prime Minister. The 39-year-old, who's currently serving as Defence Minister, will be the country's 5th Prime Minister in less than 2 years. His predecessor, François Bayrou, was forced to resign after losing a confidence vote in Parliament on Monday. 2 judges from a Supreme Court panel in Brazil have now voted to convict the former President Jair Bolsonaro of leading a military coup attempt after losing his bid for re-election nearly 3 years ago. 3 other members of the panel are expected to vote on Wednesday. Leonardo Rocha reports.
The judge leading the trial, Alexandre de Moraes, said Mr. Bolsonaro broke the law repeatedly to try to prevent the inauguration of President Lula. He described the former president as the leader of a criminal organization which tried to persuade the Brazilian armed forces to intervene to keep him in power. The second judge to vote said the evidence produced during the trial was overwhelming. Mr. Bolsonaro denies the charges and accuses the court of political bias against him.
President Trump says that an Israeli-Russian citizen who was kidnapped in Iraq 2 years ago has been released. Writing on social media, Mr. Trump said that Elizabeth Turkov, a PhD student at an American university, was now safely in the American embassy in Baghdad. Details of her release are not clear. Ms. Turkov was kidnapped by the powerful Shia militia in March 2023. BBC News.
Expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over YouTube and Facebook under the key search words Straight Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Austin Harris. My colleague and co-host, Ellio Solomon, remains on leave, but he is not on vacation. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we will be sharing an important announcement, which hopefully you will understand what he's been busy doing and what really comes next. Now, I did get a voice note prior to that last commercial. I wasn't quite sure if it was family friendly or G-rated, but then I listened to it and it was hilarious. So I decided that I have to share it with the listening audience. Let's go to the phone lines.
I am on the pins and needles with your announcement for 6 o'clock.
That was a little low. I'm going to play it again. Let's see it.
I am on the pins and needles with your announcement for 6 o'clock.
Well, that was a pretty good Minions impersonation. Let me add, that individual certainly watches quality TV with the Minions and Despicable Me. One of my personal favorites as well. I am on the pins and needles. Oh, Gru is my favorite. But then, of course, there's Dave, King Bob, and the Minions. Anybody else with me on that one? Or is it just, am I the only one in the room that seems a little cuckoo? People are like, what is he talking about? Yeah, too much caffeine. Though I did read somewhere today that energy drinks are bad for you, but coffee is great for you. Again, I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline, and it said, coffee is fantastic, and energy drinks are from the devil. So that really captivated my attention, but I didn't read any further. Cafecito and I are not just in a love affair. We are in a long-term, lasting, virtuous relationship, me and caffeine, and probably I should have a little bit less of it, but that's all right. I wouldn't be nearly as much fun as I am right now. It is 9 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock as we move into our more serious segment, in case you couldn't tell. The phone lines are open at 745-2626 is the number in studios. If you want to be a part of the conversation, whether you want to ask a question or take us down a certain rabbit hole, then by all means, it's yours. If you want to offer up some constructive criticism, as the lion once did not too long ago, then by all means, we'd love to hear from you as well. I got broad shoulders. I can take it. Or if talking isn't your thing, you can certainly reach out to us on our WhatsApp number, 928-2562. And from there, you can either send us a traditional WhatsApp text message, or you can get creative like Zeminian did a little while ago and share a WhatsApp audio note. Speaking of which, I should probably change the picture on the image. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Let's go back to it. Oh, no, there we go. I'm good again. Just making sure that Straight Talk is the image that appears on the WhatsApp number, just to make sure folks, don't see it and go, wait a minute, I think I have the wrong number. Who is this dog lover person? Nope, you're in the right place, 928-2562. And from there, you can either share a traditional WhatsApp text message, a WhatsApp audio note, or you can just, go old school and send me an old school SMS traditional text message. Either way, it'll all get to the same place. 10 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. Again, reminding you, coming up at 6 o'clock, big announcement on the program and some exciting things that my colleague has been working on whilst he's been on leave. No, he's not on vacation. He's been working really hard for your favorite evening talk show. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll share some of those details with you. But as we get closer and closer to Parliament time, we start to see some of our local MPs starting to get a little more active and a little more vocal. This time from the opposition benches, the MP for Boddentown East, Dwayne John Seymour, has called for a halt of the practice of using police in the eastern districts to plug gaps elsewhere on Grand Cayman. MP Seymour said the eastern districts of Grand Cayman had traditionally been used as a stopgap reservoir of personnel. Are you sure those were his words? Those don't seem like his words. I think somebody may be taking a little bit of, I don't know, creativity, a little bit of, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't find it right now, but traditionally been used as stopgap reservoir. No, not the words of MP Seymour. He added, we need to ensure proper coverage is had for the Eastern District. Now that I believe. The Boddentown East opposition said, what I've seen in the past is that they take from our Eastern District complement and move them around as needed, and we are sometimes left short-handed. I would love to see this practice reduced to its minimum. Now, obviously, he's talking about police personnel being, I guess, handpicked out of the Boddentown district and moved around as needed in some of the busier districts, Georgetown, West Bay, I guess on the one hand, it does say good things about the Eastern District. It's still quaint and quiet, and not a whole lot happens down there. But Bordentown is one of the fastest growing constituencies or districts. It used to be the fastest growing district until recently, that now the Republic, a.k.a. West Bay, has taken over that crown once again as the largest growing district. Now, the MP was speaking after Olson Levy, the owner of Ocean's Bait and Tackle in Breakers, said last week that he will have to shut up his shop. Shut up. He will have to shut down or shutter up his shop after the third break-in in the store in just 7 months. Now, that was an article I did read. I was disappointed in it. Certainly Ocean's Bait and Tackle, again, it's sort of a mainstay in the community, but proving it, too, is not immune to would-be thieves. What are you stealing, hooks? Squid? Really? Okay. Seymour said that this was a sad incident and one that we want to prevent from happening to any other small business owner. Levy, who has run his Bordentown store for over a decade, said that the latest burglary he had no option but to quit after the stress of dealing with the string of break-ins, which cost him thousands of dollars in stolen stock, cash, and damage. Them hooks and squid, they ain't cheap, He added that police need to be more active in the community, checking businesses at 4 a.m. Only 3 things are on the road at that time of the morning: thieves, police, and dogs. Again, that quote, I do believe, is attributed to the Honorable MP, but certainly not some of the other complement of the reserve and reservoir. No, not at all. Methinks the linguistic licensure of another was employed, says one of our WhatsApp listeners, and methinks you are absolutely right. I'm thinking the media house who wrote the article decided to throw in a little bit of their linguistic style and wide vocabulary to help out the minister in some of his otherwise very simple language, straightforward language. Again, not disparaging the minister at all, but some things you can read and you go, hang on, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Don't even say he said that, because that's just simply not true. But he does make a point. Whether it's pillaging staff from Bordentown to resource, other areas of the island. Certainly the police commissioners come up on other occasions during the month of August and late July, basically complaining that he's suffering from a staff shortage. Big part of that is, of course, the lack of funding, so he can go out and hire more staff. Not from Cayman, of course, but he can go and hire more staff from somewhere else. The government, of course, continuing to pledge its support for the police. Also not surprising when you remember who, really has oversight for the police. And you go, hang on, I get the hiring freeze in the civil service, but you do realize we're not your average civil servants, don't you? So, and hey, let's face it, we want to make sure that the to serve and protect crew have the resources they need. But like education, it's very easy to watch millions and millions and millions of dollars be spent on policing services. And arguably one sometimes wonders what we're getting for it. The MP calling for, again, more presence, which of course is always the cry. And again, I don't say this in jest. I mean, you can drive, from Georgetown to Bordentown and back, whether it be the busiest times of the weekends, early hours of the morning, and not see a single cop car in either direction at any time. And that is kind of surprising. For a while there were a string of accidents occurring on Shamrock Road, in particular Spot Street. We've talked about, again, just simply positioning vehicles on the side of the road with your light tips on. People can see you from miles away. Automatically, people slow down. Automatically, people make sure the seatbelt is on. automatically they start putting down their cell phone and hopefully activating their Bluetooth. A lot of things happen automatically just from the presence of the police and what we call proactive policing. But what we always hear whenever we make those comments, well, you know, we can't be everywhere all the time. I know, but you can be somewhere some of the time, couldn't you? The writer says, my dad, a former policeman, used to say that during 0300 and 0400 hours is the only things expected on the streets were dog, thief, duppy, and me. Well, I do believe those words are very true. That may have been true once upon a time in the Cayman Islands, but now clubs end at 2 o'clock in the morning. The roadway is sometimes busy at those dark 30 hours of the night. And regrettably, there have been occasions where those roads have been the scene of road fatalities, traffic accidents, speed, and alcohol when combined are a dangerous combination. Again, you know how I feel about police roadblocks. They shouldn't come as a surprise. They should come as, well, you should be expecting them. In other parts of the world, on Fridays and Saturday nights, particularly when the clubs close, roadblocks are as commonplace as palm trees. You know, you see them, you expect them, you know they're there. And the job is to, again, be proactive. You know, yeah, they may have to tie up traffic a little bit of inconvenience, but I'd rather be stuck in traffic than have to be attending some family's funeral for an event that could have been avoided, is all I'm saying. And again, I'm not the only one saying it. The MP for Bodden Town East is saying it as well. And bravo and kudos to him. Again, the MP for Bodden Town is saying, stop plundering our resources in Bodden Town and the eastern districts. Let's make them more available to us in the areas that matter. Again, on the one hand, I'd have to agree. On the other hand, I think it's encouraging to note that the eastern districts still remain quaint and quiet, but in the cases of the number of burglaries, and again, you know it's gotten bad when the thieves are breaking into a bait and tackle shop looking for easy money. So the situation is very clearly starting to get out of hand. Shopkeepers and business owners, I know the Chamber of Commerce has, again, raised the alarm on behalf of their members, calling for a variety of things, offering to assist the police. We seem to be more caught up in body cameras than we are being, again, on the roads in some of the hotspot areas. And whilst there have been some very strong comments coming from the police, I remember last week or the week before, one of the senior police officers basically sending a message to would-be thieves and burglars, we will catch you. We are on hot pursuit. We will find you wherever you are. Started to sound like the Transformers there for a second, didn't I? That was my best Optimus Prime imitation. Just call me Optimus Prime, to serve and protect. Oh, my goodness. It should be a crime what I do for a living. But it's just me in a 4-square room, padded walls. Not the ceiling yet, but chatting with myself. What time is it? 21 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. Let's stay with the politicians, but for a moment. Yesterday, if you joined the conversation, we were talking about the deficit. And, of course, the pendulum swinging back and forth. Well, is there going to be a deficit? Is there not going to be a deficit? There is a deficit, but not as big as $60 million. It might be $26 million. And then yesterday, well, it might not be a deficit at all. It could be break even. And then it could be maybe even a small surplus. With all of those maybes, we just have to wait and see what the end of the year will be. But I did offer commentary that whilst the government has delayed its strategic policy statement, delayed the rollout of the 2-year budget, presentation of the budget, which is expected before the 31st of December every year, they sure as heck didn't waste any time finding money to buy 125 acres in Cayman Brac and another bunch of acreage, I don't remember how much, in West Bay. Land with lighthouses seemed to be the in thing. Well, the finance minister, Honourable Ralston Anglin, has defended the government's acquisition of land in West Bay, which was bought from the Hydes family and will be used to house the West Bay Police Station. He has also revealed that despite the forecasted operational deficit his ministry is now fighting to avoid, the Cayman Islands money has money in the bank to use to acquire strategic land when it comes available. Ain't that just like government? We're broke. We can't hire. We can't do anything that impacts the needy. But when we want to buy land that we're not going to use anytime soon, don't you worry. We've got money for it. Anglin said there were reasons why more purchases were important for conservation, including in the central mangrove wetlands and barkers. Well, when you're going to destroy the central mangroves and whatnot to build a road into Frank Sound, then your guilty conscience starts to kick in, and then you say, you know what, we need more wetlands. Again, you can't make this stuff up. Speaking, I believe, on Radio Command, he said, we have a massive job in front of us when it comes to additional strategic land acquisitions. We still have a lot of land in the central mangrove wetlands that we want to protect, the minister said. And we have to come up with a plan as to how we're going to strategically continue to acquire lands. I don't think I need to say publicly why it's important, given the other entities that operate in Cayman and the number of lands and thousands of acres that they have acquired, Anglin said. Well, I don't know if he wants to point in one particular direction. I know foreign direct investment has gone a long way buying all sorts of land. Yes, there has been at least one major land baron in the Cayman Islands, but I thought he would have bought all the land that he possibly could. And when he can't buy anymore, well, the government donates land to him in exchange for a little bit of virtue. Can you build us a road? Can you build us a hotel? Can you build us, I don't know, a rocket ship to the moon? We'll give you this land that we're not using right now, and then come back and say, you know what? We need more of those lands. But apparently there's a plan behind all of this, and again, we wait to hear it ruled out by the government. Minister Anglin also said the government is keen to buy more land in Barkers. Again, where you're going to find this land in Barkers that hasn't already been bought, I don't know. 745-2626 is the number. I just saw out of the corner of my eye a phone ringing, but I wasn't quick enough. I was too busy slagging off the Minister of Finance. I apologize. I'm sure somebody is on the other line there wanting to constructively criticize me and suggest ways in which I could be a bit more gentle on the government. But some of this you really got to laugh at. I mean, you really do. You know, which is it? We're facing deficit, or we're rolling out the welcome wagon to buying land? Listen, I'm all for acquiring land for conservation. I'm all for, buying more beachfront properties so Caymanians can enjoy, the beach, as opposed to building, another hotel close to the water line and then complaining that their beach is disappearing. I'm all for it. I'm all for, finally fixing and addressing this beach access that we continue to allow encroachment on from development after development. But, sometimes it gets a little bit old. And this is why I say to folks that, there's a reason why government ministers don't necessarily want to come on this program, because we've seen the other side of the river. We know it's cold and deep, and we just simply won't buy in to some of the glittering generalities or political speak that goes with politicians doing their job. Are we facing deficit? Is it going to be $60 million or is it not? Are we doing a hiring freeze? Are we pulling back on projects that the last administration did just to say we did? But at the same token, we find $5.5 million over a weekend to buy property in the BRAC, and then, another couple of $1 million to find property in West Bay. I'm not saying they're not, well-intended, but I will say that, again, the swampland that the minister spoke of, he talked about, there is a site, I believe it's on Batabanu Road, that has been up for the last few years anyway, the future site of the West Bay Police Station, which Minister Anglin rather negatively coined as swampland, and that we could find better land for the police station. But as we have repeatedly said, some of the best property in Cayman started out as swampland. Most of the property in Cayman was swampland. Prospect, point in fact, was swampland that got developed. And look at it now, a thriving, bustling, major community. This new road extension, the Esterly-Tibbetts Highway into Hearst Road, not the Esterly-Tibbetts, but the east-west arterial. Again, swampland in many cases, wetlands in particular. We destroy it, but then we, have a come to Jesus moment, say, we need more wetlands. We need to make sure we acquire it. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Austin. How are you doing?
I'm all right, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. You sound a little bit perplexed by who's talking to you, so just for the clarity of it, this is Jordan Rivers. How you doing, sir?
Oh, you are a friend indeed. I certainly do appreciate it. Yeah, I'm having a conversation with myself. It's really good conversation, but it does sound like I'm a little bit mad, so thank you for breaking the monotony.
Okay. Insanity is on the verge, It's all right, though. I'm here to help alleviate that for you.
Thank you, my friend. I love you.
So, I love you, too. So, the reason I'm calling in, because...
Actually, we're going to get cut off. Don't go anywhere. Stay on the line. We'll be right back.
All right. Sound good.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo 103.1.
Hello, pet parents. We're Cayman Vets, Cayman's most advanced veterinary clinic providing quality care and services. We are committed to being your pet's advocate and friend, offering a lifetime of care. From vaccinations and wellness checks to more advanced surgical procedures, complicated medical concerns, and emergency care on demand. For more information about us or to get in touch, please visit caymanvets.com. Cayman Vets, where compassion meets excellence.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Shirts, pants, or linens. When you want them clean, just drop them off at Island Cleaners. Island Cleaners is a full-service dry cleaner, meaning you name it, they clean it. Professional shirt service, fluff and fold laundry, and more. Even drape and area rug cleaning and alterations, from quick hem jobs to resizing dresses. Island Cleaners, your one stop for everything clean. Artco Drive off Shedden Road. Ask about VIP and prepaid discounts.
Looking for TVs, electronics, sound systems, speakers, gaming consoles, games, and smart home gadgets? Shop Cost You Less.
Looking for housewares, small appliances, fans, mini fridges, and cooling? Shop Cost You Less.
Looking for baby supplies, toys and games, pet supplies, cleaning supplies, and auto supplies? Shop Cost You Less.
Looking for quality produce, grass-fed meats, and groceries? You guessed it. Shop Cost You Less.
Cost You Less is your destination for everything you need on island. Cost You Less. Everyday low prices on items that matter to you.
Drinking water is vital to our health. At Cayman Water, we use reverse osmosis desalination to ensure safe drinking water. A semi-permeable membrane allows fresh water to pass through, blocking out contaminants. Then, we finish with a post-treatment process and conduct frequent extensive testing to ensure that you get healthy drinking water with an average pH of 7. Not only is water out of your tap safe to drink, it's approximately 400 times less expensive than bottled water. Help to reduce plastics and save our planet. Cayman Water cares. Learn more at caymanwater.com.
We all work hard to one day buy the house of our dreams. Why wouldn't you protect it? With Saxon, you now have the option to get a home insurance quote online. Avoid the waiting in lines and the traffic. Simply log on to saxon.ky and click to get a quote to get started. At Saxon, we pride ourselves on providing our customers with excellent customer service and convenience. So what are you waiting for? Visit saxon.ky today from the comfort of your home or office to get your quote and protect the things you love. Saxon. Smart Insurance.
Across Cayman on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority, committed to caring for you. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM, where we have had a caller on hold for the duration of that last break. I cannot in good conscience keep him there any longer. Caller, are you still with me?
I'm still with you.
Oh, you are a gentleman and a scholar, my friend. Please, the floor is yours.
So I unfortunately kind of caught the tail end of your last bit of news article from the Minister of Finance. So if you could please repeat for the general public what you were discussing.
Yeah, no, basically he was just defending the recent acquisition of land in West Bay. I think $2.3 million was spent for some acreage there. So presumably where we're going to put a new lighthouse. And of course, you know the story. The weekend before that, we found $5.5 million to buy 125 acres on the bluff. And again, it's just my argument that, whilst on the one hand we talk about, having to tighten our belts, unable to present a budget, unable to present a strategic policy statement, because the country might be facing a deficit at the end of the year. But we sure as hell can find, call it $10 million at the drop of a dime when we come to buy more land. And that's just, I don't know, the irony of that, just causes me to shake my head.
No, I completely agree with you. But it's good to know that he is putting his accounting degree to use on the government's behalf, on the country's behalf. So I'm glad that they're able to find money. What I will say, because I did hear you mention the importance of central mangrove wetland and barkers. So I think it is important to, since we are acquiring land at this point in time, whether that is in mass or just a few select items within the West Bay area, I think it is important to remind not only the Minister of Finance, but all elected West Bay MPs that we still have an unresolved issue from decades ago, that being the Barkers National Park.
Yes.
And the fact that it is only a national park in title alone and not actually any provisions put in place to protect that area. If you take a drive down there at any point in time, you can see that there's already a multi-million-dollar mansion being developed in the area, as well as there looks like there is intentions to develop a little bit further in. And it begs the question, when is enough enough? We're talking about the importance of this area, and as you full well know from the many appearances on your show, as well as a lot of my campaigning, I was a staunch advocate and supporter for protecting that entire area. So I would continue to strongly urge the sitting government that if they are going to continue to spend money or look for ways to spend money when they are with an impending deficit, hopefully that won't be happening by the end of the year, but that SPS will let us know, to genuinely look at the acquiring of the entire Barkers area. The unfortunate thing is here now, as you said earlier, who's selling land? I'll just remind the general public as well that during the campaigning process, it was mentioned that from the Minister of Finance himself that he personally frowns upon the position of compulsory acquisition or compulsory purchase. So I don't know how he's going to get over himself when it comes to the absolute necessity that is purchasing that Barkers area. Now, I will tell you, there are lots for sale in that area, but that is not the entirety of it. So I would like to see if government is going to go and push with the narrative and the agenda that conservation is important, that they create a policy or a plan to purchase that entire area in one swoop, or some sort of process that allows them to talk with the biggest land developer or landowner, as you said earlier. And I think there's no need to name that individual, but we both know who we're talking about. Land Baron. That's a much better title.
Yes.
But I think it would be important for this kind of administration, who is coming from the approach of not being extremely pro-development, but also looking to strike balance, that they begin to rectify things. And I'm going to say this from my personal perception, as I would not want to put the wrong words in the minister's mouth, that being the Minister of Finance, that it seems to me that he, from my perception, that he is here to more so fix his shortcomings, especially in the beginning of his tenure from well over 12 years ago. So I do want to encourage him in that endeavor to, as he put it himself, he's been out of the field for over a decade, and now he's come back in with a new lens. So hopefully through that new lens, he can now rectify all of the shortcomings that previous administrations have had, that being that NRA deal that he was one of the chief orchestrators of way back in the day, that actually caused Barkers to end up in the capacity that it is. So if they are looking to right their wrongs, as one
short-term memory, huh, buddy?
Well, that's why I'm here to remind folks of what happened, because I told persons I'm not going anywhere, but also holding the government, any government, accountable is what
I want to give you a little tongue-in-cheek remark. I believe it's tongue-in-cheek. I don't want you to change a single, hair on your head there, buddy. But to quote a previous caller last week, what are you so hard on the government for? Would you give them a chance? Give them a chance. They're not done that yet, but give them a break.
Yeah,
thank you very much, though, for pointing out the fact that, again, it's ironic that we have a minister now backing government saying we need to embrace conservation, we need more wetlands, we need to buy more property in Barkers. But when he was in office the last time around, it was through his government and their initiative why Barkers ended up in the hands that it did. I mean,
correct.
So, again, this is why I say to people, and thank you for proving the point, this is why politicians of the day or the past can't come on this program, because we know where the bodies are buried. We remember when they were in office last time, and, well, we're not necessarily going to swallow hook, line, and sinker all the nonsense that are now, now that they have, seen the light, so to speak, to suggesting that, they've somehow changed their spots, because we are where we are today because of decisions the same persons made when they wore different colors.
Correct. And whether the colors have changed, as they say, the colors may have shifted now, but it's still the same individual. And I'm not here to necessarily pick on one individual or pick on any in particular government, but it is us as stewards of this country, as voting citizens, to continue to hold them accountable in any capacity.
Yep.
And I just want, and I'm not here to beat my chest or to attack anybody, but it is to remind them, since they are now on this path, that this is what you actually have to do. We can no longer accept empty promises. If you're going to do this, do it properly. I'm pretty sure once, and I'm sitting back waiting for when the SPS is completed later on this year, so that we can see just exactly what direction this government is going with. But I'll be working with my party and working with the relevant individuals to ensure that this and future governments are held accountable for the correct processes. But that was one of my campaign promises, and I know campaigning and promises go hand in hand, but not in the best of ways, that in or out of office, one of my biggest and largest, and hopefully a success at some point in time, would be to get the entirety of Barkers protected. So I'm going to keep on pushing, especially when that gets brought up in these forums or from elected government officials, that is their intent, to hold their feet to the fire and ensure. We have got 4 West Bay elected officials, 3 of which are current ministers, 1 of which is the actual Minister for the Environment. Okay?
Yep.
And the second one, he is actually responsible for the area that is of this significant importance. So they need to work together, they need to find the funds, and they need to actually approach these land barons, as you so eloquently put it, to come to negotiation and come to terms as to how they're going to protect the entirety of that location, not just a handful of selected areas, but the entirety of the Barkers area. And unfortunately, as I said during my time on your show, we have crossed the point where we can now just take back land. We have to begin to buy back Cayman because too many precedences have been set. So they need to start with looking how they're going to acquire things like those houses that are in the area. And it's only one, thankfully. So it's not going to be too big of a knock to the government purse. I mean, they just spent almost $10 million acquiring land. So they clearly have some sort of asset that they can go to, as well as we do have the National Conservation Fund and the land trust that we can pull from, because once again, the minister himself said there is money in there. Contrary to the information that I'm aware of, he said himself there is money in that fund. So they can pull from that fund, which is, from my memory, somewhere to the tune of $40+ million supposedly in that fund. So if they have it in there, they can use that to begin to acquire key areas in the Barkers area until they can come to the correct negotiations with the said land baron to acquire the whole of it on terms.
Well, let me ask you something, because, you talk about acquiring land that, again, previous administrations, going back to 2011, gave away. You mentioned the NRA agreement, which was an agreement. You didn't call the name, but this is history, and it has been in the public domain. The NRA agreement was an agreement between the government of the day and the DART Corporation. This is where we lost the coastal road that passed the public beach. We saw the introduction of the Esterly Tibbetts Highway extension, which included the bridge over no water, and arguably the wholesale giveaway of prime property in the Cayman Islands to the DART Group so that they would build a road. Now, again, I laugh at this for a second because it takes the government 4 and 6 years to build a couple of miles of road, but we gave away some of our richest pieces of property without a single thought so the DART could build a road and a bridge all the way into Batabanoo, and they did that, I think, in 2 years. So private sector can do it a lot quicker than the government can. One has to ponder. But taking us back to Barkers, just last December, the last administration again spoke of this memorandum of understanding that was signed with DART, which you talk about building a mansion, but it was my understanding they were building an eco-friendly resort of some kind that would somehow allow for the adoption of the environment and steel and concrete to coexist. I don't know how that's going to happen, but maybe they're using Cayman Bay as an example. But more to the point, instead of necessarily buying land that we frankly gave away before and now we probably wouldn't be able to afford if we wanted it, couldn't government just simply designate Barkers after the fact as a conservation area? I mean, it's changing zoning, and they can do that with a stroke of a pen. And therefore leave the property and its current land baron plans sort of left holding the bag. Well, you can't build a hotel now that's on land that has been rezoned for conservation only.
Yeah, they most definitely can. The thing is, persons think that when it comes to acquiring property that there has to be a certain level of monetary transaction. There's many different ways of swapping hands of ownership. So to your point, government most definitely can change the zoning of an area. They changed it from, I want to say it was low-density residential to high-density residential / commercial, hotel commercial in the Barkers area before to accommodate the DART development group. They've done it already, so there's no reason why they cannot do it again. The problem is that government can forego spending tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars to acquire this entirety of Barkers by just rezoning the entire area as an environmentally sensitive location. This was my statement during my campaign, is that you can talk about compulsory acquisition, compulsory purchase, but if you just zone the area, it doesn't matter who owns it anymore. Yeah. It can no longer be developed on. So that is one step. Now, I will say that takes a government with as what did Costa used to say, testicular fortitude back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it takes.
Yep.
The fact of the matter is, if you want to do what's right by your people, you have to step on a few toes. And just because the toes happen to be the largest land baron and one of the largest developers in the country, it does not matter. Government bends to no one but the crown. Yeah. So that is a simple fact of the matter. Yeah. I would love to see them take that kind of direct and staunch approach. We've already given away tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in concessions over the few decades. I can't see why in return for allowing government to reclaim this land after it's been deemed as a environmentally sensitive location, that they could not continue with some sort of concessions program for the persons in that area that own the land that would equate to the value of their property.
If I can encourage you, caller, I know where your heart is at, and again, I appreciate it and I respect it. And yes, thank you for raising the issue of Barkers. Thank you for reminding us and giving us a little bit of a history lesson, what occurred and who was responsible for it when. And now, of course, they're talking from the other side of their mouth Again, not being harsh on the government, but just, again, remembering from whence we come. But let me also encourage you that whether we are waiting on this government to do the right thing, which, again, you could wish in one hand and, want in the next and stick around and see which one fills up first, or you can get proactive. Now, I know where your heart is at. We have seen in this town where petitions, have changed the direction of previous governments once you get the voters and residents behind it. You can start gathering signatures from today, see if West Bears, who would otherwise complain after the fact, if they're prepared to be proactive and complain with you, to join forces with you by putting their pen to paper with their signature and their John Hancock and simply signing a petition to either save the Barkers area or to make Barkers a conservation area, thereby forcing the government to rezone. You might get a lawsuit from the Dart Group, who the last time the government tried it, they cost us, call it $17 million on the region project. So it might end up costing us some money at the time. But really, at the end of the day, you don't have to wait, callers, what I'm saying, to take action. And in this case, it'll certainly put you in direct contact with the very people that you were otherwise not too long ago in direct contact with, and certainly cause a few ripples within the government, which also you don't have to go too far to find, given the group that you're working with is also in collaboration with the current government. So I think there's a lot of great suggestions you put forward, a lot of great recommendations, but I just want to encourage you that you don't have to wait for the government to do the right thing. You can do it just starting. Just start. Just a suggestion.
Wonderful sound advice. And I will say that if we were to ever worry about lawsuits, we'd never get anything done. So I think the country can afford a small one in order for the right thing to get done, as well as I'm still waiting on my lawsuit from the current Minister of Finance, which when that comes. So, Austin, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for the platform, as always. I want to wish the listening public a wonderful evening and to take care of themselves. And remember, as Austin so eloquently said, we do not need to wait on them to get things done. We, the people, have the power, and we can get this petition. I can tell you, I will get the petition rolling very soon here.
Do it, man. All you need is 2,500 signatures. That'll get the government's attention pretty quick in a hurry.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct.
Well, I'll be there, buddy. You just say when. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the call, and I appreciate the passion. We need more of that in this country. Bravo to you.
Thank you, Austin. You take care, all right?
Take care. God bless, my brother. Always a pleasure to hear from you. And again, if it's any surprise who that last caller was, he was the candidate in the last election. But he didn't call his name, and I won't call it either. But I admire the young man. He reminds me of somebody else I once knew once upon a time, who today I don't recognize anymore. But I do recognize that young man, and I think he's, again, his heart's in the right place. But again, we just draw the attention to the same government. Again, Minister Anglin was on Radio Command saying we're defending our purchases. The $5.5 million spent on 125 acres in Cameron-Brack. On a Friday, the property went up for sale. On a Sunday, it was sold to the government. Wow, that was quick. A week later, they found another $2.3 million to buy property in West Bay, which is going to be the site of the new West Bay Police Station, when we had already identified a piece of property, started clearing that piece of property, but now that piece of property is swampland and not fitting for the West Bay Police Station. Let's go find someplace else. I'm not suggesting it's not a better location, and maybe it is. But at the same token, you can't say the country's broke and then find $10 million to buy land that we arguably didn't necessarily need in the first place. But again, maybe we do, maybe we don't. Again, I'm not the judge of that. But at the same token, you also can't get up and say, well, we need to, defend conservation. We need to buy more wetlands, when you were also a part of a government that arguably destroyed a lot of it. 2011, the NRA agreement that extended the Esterly-Tibbetts Highway. I'm not making this stuff up. This is in our history. If you do not remember from where you come from, then, again, how do you know where you're going? So I just say that to just point out the facts. These are facts. It's not my opinion. It's not me being overly critical. It's just me having a longer memory than many persons, and politicians are hoping on that. They're counting on it. They're counting on the voters' short-term memory, and that is how they get away with making promises that they know they don't want and know they can't keep. But certainly as far as Barkers is concerned, again, I don't think you can find a square inch of property that isn't already in private sector hands. But there are options. The government could, with a swoop of a pen, rezone it. They could define it a conservation area if they are serious. If they're not serious, again, voters, Caymanians, residents can take actions into their own hands by circulating a petition, convincing other people who presumably say they agree with you, at least behind closed doors. You know how they say, they come pat on your back. Yeah, but boy, you're on the right track, man. I got you, man. I got your back. I'm all the way behind you. Well, let's see if we can get some of that support when the spotlight is shined on them. Will they step up and seek to defend property that, again, is a West Bay sort of treasure? If you mean it, then join that young man in the petition, because, again, when voters get together and put their signatures to paper, that certainly gets the politicians' attention. So I'm just saying there are options. A writer writes to the program, I'm just wondering, isn't all of Cayman Bay built on swampland? So are we saying that DART can build a whole village on swampland, but we can't build a police station on it? Listen, I agree with you 1,000%. As I said earlier on, most of the quality property in this country started out as swampland. Prospect, all swampland, all of it. Now you couldn't tell, but it was all swampland. That is one of the reasons why the water table is so high. That's one of the reasons why it floods so badly when it rains, because it was all swampland. When we build roads, there's a reason why roads, particularly over swamplands or wetlands, take so long to build, because they fill it, and then that property, that road, has to settle. And by settle, I literally mean that once they lay down the marl and the heavy rocks and other substances, which, again, I don't know the ingredients, but you know what I'm saying, that land sinks to a certain extent until it's settled and it finds its bedrock, and then they fill it up again, and then you can start driving on it. So a lot of land, prime land in Cayman, started out as swampland. And yeah, Cayman Bay was swampland or wetland once upon a time. And now, look at it. You never miss an opportunity to shop there. You never miss an opportunity to, dine there and, enjoy entertainment. Hell, you don't even miss an opportunity to live there today. You could never tell. It was once home to whistling ducks and iguanas and snakes and frogs and whatnot. Again, only certain times of the year and certain locations where we want to preserve that flora and fauna. But when we want to put down concrete and steel, that's a different story altogether. Again, the double standards in this town. You live long enough, all you can do is shake your head. And I'm young compared to some people. I tell it all the time. The changes my mother has seen in this country through her eyes in the almost 60 years that she's been here, not alive, but been here, she's seen some changes. Sometimes you got to feel for her. She must not recognize the place anymore, and I get it because I've seen it in my lifetime. But anyway, the phone lines are open. 745-2626 is the number. If you've got a comment on, again, the double talk of our politicians, if you've got some comments about, what Barkers should be used for, do you agree with the last caller that it should be preserved? It should be available to locals. It should be reserved as a conservation national park environment. Or if you agree like me, in most cases, that horse has already left the barn, and now we're trying to claw it back. We do have a caller on the line. Let's take it. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Dr. Harris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you? Fellow West Bear on the line from the Republic. What's on your mind?
Too much to discuss in one go.
That's all right. That's okay. We can catch up soon, my friend. Look forward to it.
Yeah, you're running a good show, man. And is this your personal number or not?
No, this is the studio number, but I will tell you 928-2562, which substitutes as the show number, is also my personal number. So you can reach me on that number if you like.
928-6962.
928-2562.
2562. Thank you. Call you soon.
All right. I look forward to it, my friend. 57 now, 58 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock is the time in studios. We do have to pause and move on to the top of the hour news in a few moments. But still a lot of show left. And again, I remind you, coming up right after the top of the hour news, a big announcement coming from ourselves here at Straight Talk. And, well, you're going to get to hear it when we return from the break. So if you're still with us, you definitely don't want to leave us because when we do come back, we're going to share that news. I think it's important news. I'm excited to share it with you. So that's coming up next. But, of course, we've got a whole half hour still to go. More great conversation to go. 745-2626 is the phone lines in studios. If you want to be a part of the conversation, don't hesitate. Join in. If talking isn't your thing, you can write to us at 928-2562 on our WhatsApp line, either a traditional WhatsApp text message, or you can get creative and send us a WhatsApp audio note. If you feel like challenging the government, by all means. If you feel like complimenting the government, by all means. The phone lines are yours to utilize. Take advantage, yes? We're going to pause, take a short commercial break, but there shall be more Straight Talk still to come right here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
Bobo.
How can we understand the world better?
The BBC World Service is a window onto the wider world.
A vantage point from which to survey a new horizon.
News, reports, and analysis from around the world.
Stories we think matter.
Different people from different societies.
We get to the heart of global issues.
News, stories, and global perspectives from the BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
BBC News.
BBC News.
World news from the BBC.
Violent clashes.
Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive wind.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat.
Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
This is the BBC News with Fiona MacDonald. The Qatari Prime Minister has denounced Israel's attack on Hamas leaders in his country as treacherous, saying it was aimed at sabotaging Gaza ceasefire talks. Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani added that the United States, an ally, had informed Qatar of the Israeli strikes after they began.
Now, when they got the alert, when the alert has reached us, that's an information that I don't know right now. What I know that the official channels that we have with the U.S. got notified by the U.S. after the attack by 10 minutes.
For his part, Donald Trump said Israel had notified Washington, but not in time to stop the attack. He said he felt very badly about where the strikes had taken place. Nonetheless, he said eliminating Hamas was a worthy goal. Sarah Smith is in Washington.
We know that President Trump spoke to the Emir of Qatar after this attack and assured him that nothing like this will happen on his soil again. In other words, that's a clear warning to Israel to not do this again. It's extremely difficult to understand how this could advance the peace process that America and Donald Trump was so deeply enmeshed in before this attack.
Hamas said 6 people were killed in the attack in Doha, but none of its leaders was among them. The UN chief, Antonio Guterres, condemned the Israeli attack as a flagrant violation of Qatar's territorial integrity. He said all sides should work towards achieving a ceasefire rather than attempting to destroy it. Saudi Arabia described the strike as criminal. In other news, the army in Nepal has warned it will take control in the country if widespread anti-corruption protests don't stop. A statement accused unnamed groups of trying to take advantage of the unrest. There have been arson attacks and vandalism in several cities as protests escalate despite the resignation of the Prime Minister. Charlotte Scarr has more from Kathmandu.
Jubilation from the Gen Z protesters. The government has listened and has reversed the controversial ban imposed on a dozen of the social media apps, including Facebook and YouTube, after they had failed to register their operations in Nepal. But anger remains. Anger at government corruption and the lavish lifestyles of the elite. In a country where unemployment stands at 20%, thousands have marched through the capital, waving flags, chanting slogans, and storming government offices.
The UN nuclear watchdog says it's reached an understanding with Iran on how to resume inspection of its key nuclear facilities. Tehran suspended cooperation with the IAEA following the bombing by Israel and the US of its sites in June. The agreement was reached following talks between the agency's head in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. BBC News. The French President Emmanuel Macron has named Sébastien Lecornu as the new Prime Minister. The current Defence Minister will be the country's 5th Prime Minister in less than 2 years. His predecessor, François Bayrou, was forced to resign after losing a confidence vote in Parliament on Monday. From Paris, here's Hugh Schofield.
The President has given Sébastien Lecornu an initial task as Prime Minister, and that's to consult with the other parties with the aim of finding some kind of consensus about what might go into the next budget, the issue that brought down Bayrou. But there's no reason he'll find the mission any easier than his ill-fated predecessor did, with neither the left nor Marine Le Pen's hard right in any mood to do the new incumbent any favours.
The International Criminal Court has heard chilling accounts of atrocities by fugitive rebel leader Joseph Kony and his Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda. A lawyer for victims said children were abducted, enslaved and sexually abused. The LRA insurgency in the early 2000s left more than 100,000 people dead and nearly 6,000 children abducted. Kony, still at large, faces 39 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity. 2 judges from a Supreme Court panel in Brazil have now voted to convict the former president, Jair Bolsonaro, of leading a military coup attempt after losing his bid for re-election nearly 3 years ago. 3 other members of the panel are expected to vote on Wednesday. Mr. Bolsonaro denies the charges. President Trump says that an Israeli-Russian citizen who was kidnapped in Iraq 2 years ago has been released. Writing on social media, Mr. Trump said that Elizabeth Turkov, a PhD student at an American university, was now safely in the American embassy in Baghdad. Details of her release are not clear. Ms. Turkov was kidnapped by the powerful Shia militia. BBC News.
Expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live on YouTube and Facebook under the key search word Straight Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Austin Harris. My colleague and co-host, Ellio Solomon, is on leave, but he has been very busy working on some exciting things. So I've been talking about the work that my colleague has been busy doing whilst he's not in studios. Some will recall that amongst his many skills, he is both a contractor, so he builds stuff, And he's also very good with IT, so he knows his way around a computer. Me, as the old saying goes, I don't want the labor pains. I just want the baby. I love that saying, by the way. I really do. Well, Ellio has been working on building our online presence, and I'm happy. Well, I'm happy and sad at the same time. Tonight, this show right now that you're listening to represents the final show that Straight Talk will have on this frequency here on Stingray Media. We shall be moving on to a brand new studio and largely building on our online presence in social media. We've been talking, of course, about our website, www.straighttalk.ky, that we've been slowly building out. It not only features a full library of all of our shows since going live on the 10th of February, but it has a number of editorials. And, of course, you can also view the show itself live from that platform. We are building infrastructure that is geared towards even more listener engagement with you, our valuable listeners, allowing our listeners to contribute in real time, almost on an ongoing basis, things you can't do at the traditional phone line sense. So as of 6:30 this evening, Straight Talk on Bobo 103.1 FM will be no more. This will be our final broadcast on this frequency. And regrettably, here's the bad news. As hard as we have been trying and we have been working diligently, my goal was to unplug from one extension cord and plug into another almost simultaneously so that there would be no loss of time. But despite our very best efforts, that is not going to be possible. So Straight Talk will go off the air for a few weeks, but we expect to return on the 1st of October. Again, largely on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and maybe even a few other platforms as well. So definitely look out for our advertising, our marketing, on social media, largely Facebook and Instagram in particular. But tonight will mark the end of our association with Stingray Media here on Bobo 103.1 AM, 1 FM. But I want to thank Bobo. I want to thank Stingray for affording us a wonderful opportunity. We have had the pleasure of broadcasting here on 103.1 FM since the 10th of February. It's been a hell of a ride. I want to single out the operations manager, Dave Kelly, for his incredible assistance in just about every single area of doing this job. He's been such an incredible person, so knowledge-filled, a huge help to the program. And it's sad to be saying goodbye to him and the wider Stingray family. But we aren't going to be going far. So as of tonight, this will be our last program here on Bobo 103.1 FM. And as much as I would have liked to be able to say, well, catch us tomorrow at such and such a location, that's not going to happen for a couple of weeks, despite our best efforts. And for reasons, as I always say, beyond our control, we were unable to make that happen. But certainly that online infrastructure that we have been diligently working on for the last several weeks is almost ready to be welcomed into the world. And on the 1st of October, Straight Talk will be broadcasting from a new studio in a highly enhanced new format, largely social media and online based, but hopefully still also can be found on your radio dial. And, well, there you go. So I hope you have enjoyed it. We've enjoyed being here. Certainly I have to, show my love to our first 100 followers. You know who you are, the people that have been with us from the beginning. As we say, your original day ones, you know who has your back. We do. But since that time, the listening audience has grown exponentially. We're so grateful for your continued support. Obviously, your embracing of the kind of program and content that we want to bring. We believe there needs to be a variety. We believe that the discussions at the national level need to come out of the mud and have their day in the spotlight. We don't pull any punches, but we do so, again, as respectfully as we know how. And as we say, even when we disagree, we don't have to be disagreeable. That has been the goal, and that remains the goal. But the biggest goal is to create a more interactive environment that is catered more for you, our valuable listening audience, in ways in which you can engage with the program, in ways in which you can interact with the program, all from the modern convenience of your handheld mini computer. So I just want to say thank you to Stingray Media for hosting us from the 10th of February. But as of this evening, this will be the last show of Straight Talk broadcasting on 103.1 FM. But on the 1st of October, we will move in to our new home, brand new studios, and hopefully the same great, exciting content with even more listener interaction. So we hope you will follow us. We hope you will stay with us. We'll be taking a few weeks break, but again, we won't be on vacation. Like I said, I would have liked to have just simply unplugged from here and plugged in to the next place simultaneously. But sometimes patience is a virtue, or so they tell me. So I'm learning to be patient, and as we slowly get there. But I promise you that everything that we do is to improve the quality of the show, to ensure that same high-level content and honest dialogue that we strive to present. And on the 1st of October, we hope to be presenting it to you from a new home. So definitely keep a weather eye, not on the horizon, but certainly on the social media airwaves, and look out for more marketing from Straight Talk. And if you haven't done so already, then by all means, add www.straighttalk.ky to your favorites bar. Particularly persons subscribing to that channel will learn first where we're going to land and when we're going to go live again. So, again, we hope to be back very soon. And to our valuable listening audience, we love you. We appreciate the support, and big plans ahead. Got a message coming in from social media. Austin, thanks for everything, and looking forward to following you in the near future. Well, thank you very much. We hope to be back very soon. Again, tonight will be the final broadcast for Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM. But on the 1st of October, we will be broadcasting on our new home, new frequency, and largely online. And you can look out for social media for more details as that dream, as we say, gets closer to becoming a reality. 15 minutes past the hour, 6 o'clock is the time in studios, giving us about 15 minutes remaining. Obviously, we were chatting earlier about the Barkers area and the viewpoint of, again, one listener believing it should be preserved for conservation. On the other side, previous governments have already signed a memorandum of understanding that will see that area developed. I think most of the valuable land there has already been sold, but it ain't over till it's over. So if you believe that, there are better uses for Barkers, if you are one of those residents of the District of West Bay or elsewhere that believes that land should be preserved in its natural state and that we shouldn't have to develop every square inch of property in Grand Cayman, well, you don't have to wait for your government to do the right thing. You can encourage them to do it simply by starting a petition. You only need 2,500 signatures to get their attention. So I encourage my good friend in West Bay to do just that. I have every belief that he will, but I also want to encourage him to continue to agitate, to continue to press forward on the things that he believes in, and not to allow anyone to detract him from it at all. The new lion has arrived. The other one is, he's no more. Long live the king. Yeah. Another issue that very quickly is going to turn into a big issue. This is an announcement, public service announcement, really, coming from the residents of Patrick's Island. Please be advised that effective tomorrow, Wednesday, September the 10th, the gates at Patrick's Island will be closed to all traffic moving forward. There will be a policeman at the top of the road from the early morning and a security guard at the gate to advise people as well. The residents of Patrick's Island kindly ask that you take note of this change and make any necessary adjustments to your travel routes. Your cooperation is appreciated, and that message is brought to you by the Patrick Island community. Now, why is this a big deal? A lot of people coming off of the east-west bypass in the mornings like to hang a quick right if you're coming from the eastern districts on Poindexter Road, which kind of runs parallel to the SIFA soccer field, and then really makes a beeline first through Patrick's Island, and then from there sort of cutting through Prospect proper and then trying to meander its way back along the main road. Well, that won't be the case tomorrow. The gates at Patrick's Island, which I point out have been there for some time. Patrick's Island has always saw itself as a gated private community, but they have put up with a lot of people driving through their neighborhood. I know there are many persons, particularly those persons in Prospect proper, persons who live on Bamboo, Whirlwind, Omega Drive, Rosemary, that regularly travel that road. Many of them have adopted that road as their own, and if not, they're right. But the affluent folks of Patrick's Island are there to remind you that there's Prospect and then there's Patrick's Island. The two are separate and apart. And coming tomorrow, there will be a new gate. So if you're planning to come into town and planning to take your usual shortcut from the east-west arterial and try to bump ahead several hundred cars ahead, that opportunity will be closed to you as Patrick's Island's property will be closed for vehicular travel, restricted only for the use of residents. A police officer will be posted at the top of the road, and a security guard will be posted at the main gate. I saw one of the bloggers say, well, who's paying for the police officer? Because as we've learned in the past, the cops don't just show up because you say it's a good thing. You got to pay them these days. I don't know. Or maybe that just occurs in West Bay if you hold football games for charity. That's when they start costing you money. But if you start blocking traffic or creating more bottlenecks, then they have to get involved because that road rage is for real, folks. So tomorrow morning on your way into town, particularly coming off the east-west arterial, no more right turns allowed on Poindexter, or you can if you live in the immediate area, but don't try to get past Patrick's Island because the gates, they will be up and they will be enforced, and, well, you won't be able to drive through it anymore. So there you have it. I got some commentary pouring in on social media. One says, it's sad to hear that you guys won't be on the air for a few weeks, but we are more than excited to you for your new studio. Congratulations to both of you, Austin and Ellio. We are looking forward for you guys on the 1st of October. We will truly miss your intellectual show. Well, thank you very much. We certainly do appreciate those remarks. And we do try to, operate at a high level. We try to bring a different type of conversation, on issues that we believe largely goes missed in the public domain. We're too preoccupied with surface clutter. We're too preoccupied by buying into the rhetoric of politicians. Maybe that's what some of us are paid to do, but we aren't. And again, we would have liked to have been able to transition from one show, plug in over there and plug in to the next location. Believe me, we tried. We really tried to make that happen. But some things just don't happen on our own timing, as my mother says, but it always happens on God's timing. So trust him and his plan. But we will be back, so we will be off the air for a few weeks. But on the 1st of October, we'll be back with a new show, and we hope that you will be there as well. Got a comment coming in. Good evening. Sorry to hear the program will be off the air. Hopefully not for too long. You and Mr. Harris Straight Talk will be back again. We will be back again. The 1st of October, we will be back in new studios, a new home, offering even more interactivity for you, our valuable listening audience. Another commentator says, sad, I will miss you. Well, I'll miss you too, but we won't be gone for long. We do have a voice note, which I'm told is family friendly. Let's have a listen to it.
Yeah, hi, Austin. Mario Eubanks here. Yeah, someone just called me. I just tuned into the show. And I understand this is your final show. I'm very sad to hear that. And I just want to thank you and Ellio for your work. But I also want to say that it is really sad that a show like yours is taking a break and moving on to another domicile. I think we need this kind of show where we discuss issues, solutions, public policy in a very responsible manner. And we don't just talk about people and talk about gutter mud. We talk about issues, and that's what your show is all about. And so I want to thank you for starting it, and good luck with continuing it. I also believe that the time has come for a code of responsible journalism to be crafted and brought into the force. Not that your show would need that necessarily, but it's always good to have checks and balances. And again, I want to thank you for the high quality discussion and debate that you brought to the Caymanian and the global audience, really, at the drive time in the evenings for the last few months since February, and wish you and Ellio and your other supporters all the best in continuing to educate, elucidate, and raise the level of debate in this country as we move on from good to great. God bless. Thank you.
And thank you very much to that last caller, someone else that has meant a big deal to us, a major deal. He's been a big supporter to our program, a regular contributor to our program, sometimes an emergency fill-in guest for the program. It is really with a heavy heart that we leave Stingray Media. I had hoped that we would have been able to have grown with Stingray Media, having started arguably from very fresh and fertile grounds, from little bitty into hopefully something that perhaps might have a broader impact on the national consciousness. But not all things last forever. The good news is we're not gone forever either. We will be back on the air. We will be back. We're aiming for the 1st of October. Again, new studios, more content, more interactivity. But yes, today will be our final broadcast here on Stingray Media. Again, we cannot say enough good things about Stingray Media, their help to us, being with us. We do appreciate the collaboration and partnership. It is with a heavy heart that we do depart. But certainly we are going on to greener pastures. And again, newer, more exciting opportunities entirely for you, the listening audience. And we will continue to strive to bring you high quality discussions, high quality content on issues, as we say, that impact all of our lives. And our goal always is to enlighten, educate, and to elevate the thinking of our listening audience. We want you to come here. Yeah, we want you to be entertained. It's good to laugh and, joke and have a few laughs and a smile every now and again. But it's more importantly that you learn, like we did today. Again, you hear ministers get up saying we need more conservation, but then they forget that they were arguably the ones that destroyed conservation for Barkers by swapping that land so that we can have, the Indigo Hotel and the Kimpton Hotel, and we could, again, destroy the coastal road that used to run along Public Beach, and no longer can you see the coastline, but because we have a new highway that runs all the way to West Bay, again, the same MP at that time, MLA for West Bay, what did he do? Well, he alleviated traffic for those persons coming out of West Bay in the morning. Now you can leave West Bay almost at, 10 to 8 and be in town by 8:30, no problem at all. You can't do that from the Eastern Districts. And again, there are actions, there are consequences for everything. But at the same time, that same minister, who's now a Minister of Finance, defending the land acquisitions, whilst at the same time suggesting that the civil service and everyone else should tighten their belts, but at the same token also saying we need to buy more land for conservation, we need to buy more wetlands, but at the same time have in their past destroyed a significant amount of the same land. So talking out of both sides of their mouth. Again, this is not being critical of the government. This is just knowing our history and reminding folks of things that you may not know about, so that when you hear these remarks, you take it with a grain of salt and take it for what it is. But as my colleague would say, and to quote the great Governor Arnold, we'll be back. And certainly this is the home for all of you, those persons who love to think. We're going to pause, take a break. We'll be off air for a few weeks, but come the 1st of October, there'll be a new Straight Talk, a new look, a new home, and new exciting content for you to enjoy. It has been a pleasure working with you. It has been a pleasure joining you each and every weekday evening. But I say farewell for tonight for a very short time until the 1st of October, when Straight Talk will be back on the airwaves in your homes, bringing you the kind of quality discussion that you have grown to love and appreciate. Thank you so very much. Have a good night, and we will talk soon.
The home of the BBC World Service, the most trusted news source in the world. This is Bobo 103.1. The following commercial messages are brought to you exclusively by Stingray Media.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The Office Hero. To claim this title, you have to make an exceedingly wise decision. Do something that benefits staff, impresses clients, all while keeping expenses low. Are you ready to be the Office Hero? Here's what to do. Call Hughes Cleaning Service. Hughes Cleaning Service will make your office shine and you a hero. Dusting, vacuuming, windows, sanitizing, and more. Hughes expert cleaners will make your office a healthy, immaculate, impressive workspace. Call 949-0734. Visit hughes-janitorial.com. Hughes, you get more than clean.
At Polar Bear Air Conditioning, we believe in helping you to avoid costly mistakes and replacements. That's why we offer a quarterly maintenance program at a discounted price. You'll receive a 10% discount on all repairs, accessories, and services. Priority front-of-the-line customer status, reminders of your service, and no overtime rate for after-hours calls. Why not save money and avoid hassle with Polar Bear Air Conditioning?